opening talk, I would like to call Ramakanth sir, the CEO of the Waterbase Ltd. For those of you who might not know, the Waterbase Ltd. Is one of the pioneer shrimp aquaculture company in India. They were the ones who started with the black tiger aquaculture, and they have a very beautiful campus in Nellore, with an amazing tree cover. And if you're lucky enough, like I was lucky this February, I think the meals at their canteens are also definitely worth having. And Ramakanth sir, I've known him for a few years now, and he has a very enviable track record. You just have to see the Waterbase company's stock performance to know how great of a CEO he is. So without much ado, I really commend that someone from such a big company is coming to this event. So it definitely means that big companies and key executives have the Indian retail markets in sight. And I'm looking forward to what you have to say, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. Honorable Member of Parliament and respected dignitaries from ICAR, all my fraternity colleagues from all over the country, a very good afternoon to all of you. Hope I am audible. Okay. So at the outset, I would like to thank Mr. Pradhan for inviting me to this gathering, the third edition of the Shrimp Retail. This is my first participation. For some reasons, I couldn't attend the first two editions of this conference, but I made it sure that my colleagues attended the conference and they gave a very good opinion about the whole purpose and how the event has transformed. Aditya has briefed about us. I represent the Waterbase India. We are incorporated 37 years back, and we take pride in the fact that we were one of the pioneers in shrimp aquaculture in India. When we started off with a theme of setting up Asia's largest integrated aquaculture complex at Nellore. So we had built shrimp farms, shrimp processing and export plant over there, shrimp feed plant, and we had hatcheries. So today, Waterbase is into all these verticals. We do have hatcheries, feed business, we have exports, we have a small division to sell our products in the Indian domestic market as well. So this is a new endeavor. I mean, we are just trying to see how the market is responding to the products that we produce. We also have one more group company which is into crab meat processing, and that is in Tuticorin, where we pick the meat from the crab and then we pack it, pasteurize it, can it, and export to US. It's 100% EOU. So without much ado, let me get on to today's deliberations, and I have been given a topic to talk about what's happening with the shrimp domestic consumption in India. It's no secret, everyone sitting in this room know what is happening to the Indian domestic consumption. It's no great secret. When there is pressure on the export front, people turn their attention to the domestic market. It's very unfortunate, right? The focus on domestic market should not be dependent on the vagaries of international prices, supply and demand. India is a huge market, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Today we are the 5th largest economy and a country with a huge middle class, which is just started moving up the value chain. So the benefits of this and the demographics will definitely result in a very high consumption of shrimp going forward. So let's check how we move there. So to talk about Indian fisheries, as Dr. Lal has mentioned in his speech, we have really grown exponentially in the last decade and a half. So India's exports, seafood exports, are almost over 7 billion. And the ministry is now targeting to hit 1 lakh crore worth of exports going forward. And how was this possible? This was made possible with collaborative efforts of government and the private sector, strongly supported by the research institutes like SIBA. We have seen, our company has witnessed the whole cycle of shrimp since 1987. We have seen those tough days in the 90s where the white spot disease hit the entire country and people left aquaculture, they went to do some other business. And thanks to Vanamai, way back in 2010, 2008, 9, so the life has come back into aquaculture, and then India never looked back. Whatever gap that was there created by the EMS in Southeast Asia was encashed by India. And Dr. Lal has mentioned how we could earn many-fold times the forex earnings with only 10% increase in production. The realization was that great. And to give you some sense of those years, we used to sell 30-count shrimp way back in 2010, 11, 12, that time, about 850 rupees. Today, we are selling at 450 rupees, the farm gate prices, after so many years. So yes, the sector has exploited the opportunities, and the sector is also facing many challenges. As we move along, I'll show you that. But yes, the Fisheries Ministry has now targeted to do an export of 1 lakh crores. But that should not limit our foraying into the domestic market, which will have long-term benefits for the country. The shrimp sector, as most of you are aware, last few years we are facing headwinds on the export front. What has happened? Has the demand started contracting so much? I would say no. The demand has in fact doubled in the last 10 years. So did the supply. But what eventually has happened is supplies are now ahead of demand. When supply is ahead of demand, the prices will crash. And that's what we are all going through right now. The price is dropping for the 28th month in a row. So the international price realization for shrimp is on a slide, and we have to see when this will get corrected. And this sudden surge in shrimp production has happened from one country which contributed significantly to this surge in supply growth, which is Ecuador, a small country in South America. Today, that country is boasting a production of 1.4 million tons. And the last 4 years, their growth rate had been almost 27%. So with this kind of growth in production, there had been excess stock into the market, thereby the prices crashed. And the prices crashed. This will hit everybody in the value chain, not only the processors, the feed millers, but the most important person in the whole value chain is the shrimp farmer. So he has to bear this brunt. Today, the farmers are going through a very, very, very tough time. They are unable to meet their production costs. The farmer who works tirelessly from morning to evening, And after 3 months or 4 months when he harvests, today he is not realizing the money that he has put in as investment in putting that crop. So that's a very sad story today. Every single farmer is going through these tough times because of the glut in production and because of the sliding prices in the international market. So now, adding to the increased supply in the global market, what we also see here is last 2 years, global events also have played a role in further denting into the whole shrimp business. One, we have seen the breakout of the war between Ukraine and Russia. This has costed very dearly because entire Europe has faced a lot of issues because of that. Everything has gone up, prices have gone up, unemployment has risen. So we have seen the war which is still going on even after 2+ years. There seems to be no solution unless we expect our Modi ji to do something and solve this issue. And then added to that, we have one more issue that has cropped up in West Asia, the Israel war, and we don't know where and when this is going to end. This has also put a lot of pressure on the system. Now, coupled with these wars is the inflation which hit all-time high in the US. So people even say it's a decadal high inflation which has impacted shrimp consumption in the US market. Despite low prices, despite falling prices, the per capita consumption of shrimp in the US has not moved up. In fact, it has gone down. So do we call it elasticity of demand? I don't know. But it didn't work. So what we are witnessing today is there is a mild contraction on the demand side, but there is a huge surge from the supply side, which is causing this imbalance leading to the price drops. And the whole sector is paying price for that. Now, how is 2025 looking for us? It doesn't look any great as of now. Looking at the numbers, US imports for 2024 are negative, declined. China has declined. These are the two large shrimp consuming markets in the world with over 1 million tons of imports. Those two large markets have crashed. I mean, they have registered negative growth. The only bit solace right now we have is the European Union, where they have posted a modest growth for the year 2024. Now, 2025, whether we will come out of the woods would largely remain to be seen if the production gets moderated in the world. I mean, today, if you ask me certain numbers, the whole demand for shrimp is about 5.5 million tons, and shrimp production is already ahead of it. It's about 5.7, 5.8. So that 3 lakh tons is causing a huge, huge gap. And someone should start, taking that into cognizance and start moderating. So this needs to be addressed immediately for the benefit of all the stakeholders. So 2025, I don't see the price recovery happening because production doesn't show, any trends of slowing down right now. Everybody is gearing up. You look at India itself. I mean, despite so many issues that we face where farmers don't make money and they are suffering, and then we have all the natural calamities, the disease outbreaks, still our farmers are not giving up. They are still repeatedly stocking, season after season. So at some point of time we need to pull back and see whether whatever we are doing is in the interest of the entire community. Only then it should help all of us. So my guesstimate would be the first half of 2025, we do not see any price recovery. So we need to be very, very cautious as far as our productions are concerned. Now, looking at the aquaculture, where are we now? And what is happening? It's truly our aquaculture, shrimp aquaculture is at crossroads today. We have seen that the farm gate prices are not remunerative to the farmers. We have seen that the productivity is falling. We have repeated disease issues. On top of it, we also have the natural calamities, rains hitting, cyclones hitting us now and then, which is all taking a toll on our production and also on the production costs. And there is excess capacities in the sector that is also leading to price leakage, and nobody is making money in this business right now. So supply is ahead of demand, as I have mentioned, and because of that, we have seen prices drop. India also does fish, right? We also grow shrimp and fish. But that fish is not exported out of India. There is no market for that. That is largely consumed within India. So that also doesn't give us any respite, because whatever you produce, the white fish and all that in Andhra, that gets consumed in Eastern India. There is not even a single ton of fish today that is getting processed and exported out of India, which we need to seriously look at. What kind of species would really be of interest to the international buyers. And here comes today's session, untapped domestic market for shrimp and lower per capita seafood consumption. This is where we all now train our guns on. When the international market is so tough, why shouldn't we look inside? Isn't it the time that we focus on boosting the consumption in the domestic market? So I would pause a minute, and I would like to appreciate Mr. Pradhan for taking this initiative 2 years back, to start this shrimp retail edition. It's a very, very bold move with very, very limited or scarce resources that he has. He has really pulled it on for the third edition, and I would also thank all the sponsors who are supporting him. Please do support him. This is the need of the hour. This is the key thing that we should all be focusing, because there is a huge, huge potential lying untapped within the country, which should help all of us, and we should, put our farmers back, make them go to the bank with a smiling face. So not many major innovations have happened in the last, say, 10 years after we introduced Vanamai. In terms of production systems or in terms of bringing down the cost. A lot of efforts have been put, by talking about, we talked about lined ponds in the beginning, which did not take off much. We talked about biofloc that also have not done much in the country. I mean, when we compare ourselves with Ecuador, where are we lacking? Why Ecuador is so ahead of us? Don't we have that access to technology? Don't we know how to do shrimp farming? Why is Ecuador ahead of us? No, if we look at that, there are certain factors which are in their favor, but we are not too very far from them. Somewhere, genetics, which plays a very, very important role, needs to be looked upon. And by those improvements or modifications in genetics, I'm sure that we can cut down the production costs, and we can give a very tough fight to Ecuador in the future. So I normally say that these 4 Ds are very, very critical for India's shrimp market, shrimp business or the seafood business. The first D in terms of priority is driving domestic demand. This is very, very critical for us. All said and done, we are looking at a huge market of, almost, I would say, 1.4 billion people. Even if I take 50% of them being non-vegetarians, we are talking about, almost 700 million non-vegetarians today. Yes, today, our spending power is not that much. We have large other issues to focus upon. So maybe today we are falling short of, getting into shrimp consumption, but I am sure that day is not far enough where, India will start munching more and more shrimps, and that should take the whole sector to a very high level, new level. Diversifying species. This is again a very key fact that even Mr. Lal has addressed it. Today we are farming a shrimp which is not a local shrimp. It's coming all the way, the brooders are coming all the way from US, and they are originally from Latin American countries. They are being bred in India. So don't we have any local species? Here I would like to congratulate SIBA for identifying an indigenous species called indicus, and they have already begun trials. I hope we should find some solution to all our problems with that new species. I hope that species will be made available to every single farmer. I mean, I'm sure Mr. Lal has some big plans of taking this to greater heights. So diversifying species is very, very critical for us. Disease management and diagnostics, this is again a very, very key thing for India. If we compare ourselves with the throughput of any other country, I mean, we are not even having the productivity of 50%. So which will automatically mean that your production cost is at least 50% higher than the neighboring countries, or for that matter, any country that is producing shrimp. So we need to address this. We need to plug that through proper disease management and diagnostic services. Even today, I would say that we are lagging behind. While most of our farmers are aware how to manage diseases, how to keep proper biosecurities, how to follow best farming practices, but they all go out of the window whenever they see opportunities, and they go after profits, and everything is left just like that. I have myself witnessed some farms where they don't even exchange water for multiple crops. They just treat the water and then again restart immediately, which is not correct. There is hardly any crop holiday in certain states. So best management practices have to be inculcated, and we all should take that onus on us and help the farmers to increase productivity so that their profits will improve. And the most important thing is we have to defend our cost structure. India has tremendous advantages. All our feed ingredients we buy locally. We have soy. We produce, almost 120 lakh tons of soy. So we have ample soy available with us. We have fish meal available with us. We also export fish meal. We have wheat flour. So all the key ingredients that are required for feed, which contributes 50% to the production cost, is available locally to us. That's a huge advantage for India. Right? Apart from that, you have labor availability. There's so much of labor that is available, which today Ecuador doesn't have that. They have to pay through their nose to their employees who work on the farms. Right? And then we have proactive state governments which are incentivizing their farmers either through electrical subsidy, power tariff subsidies, etc. So these are certain proactive steps that the governments are taking in India. We definitely have those advantages, but still we should not let this advantage go, because we were number one. India was number one shrimp exporting country till 2018. Then we started losing it. Today we have fallen to probably number 3 after Ecuador, China, and then India became number 3 shrimp producing country. So we have to come back to our number 1 position. So let's talk about the domestic shrimp consumption. What we have witnessed, in the last at least 7-8 years, I would say, is the whole sector can be mapped into 2 zones: pre-COVID and post-COVID. So there is a lot of changes that we have witnessed in post-COVID times. We have seen a paradigm shift in the way people have approached to shrimp consumption in the country. In the past, shrimp availability was limited to the coastal areas. Mostly shrimp was sold through the wet markets. Only when we had some excess export surplus stocks, we used to focus on the domestic market and push material into the market, into the domestic market, and that too without taking much effort to whom we are selling, how they are again remarketing and all that. So we used to just palm off the material from our processing facilities. And even those days, affordability was a bit on the lower side, and at the most 1 or 2 product forms were there. But today, from that scenario, you look at the current situation, there's a sea change. And the first change is the consumption is started going up, especially in the big cities. And what prompted this? There had been some awareness that is working on eating healthy. And slowly that change is being witnessed in large metros and cities, especially where you have very huge young population with more disposable incomes. They want to try anything new, anything that is, a delicacy, etc. So this is helping us in the big cities. The cold chain also has improved a lot in the last 5 years, I would say. I should thank the government of India for, their support to this sector. Though we have just started our journey in terms of taking this cold chain infrastructure to a level where we can proudly say at least the tier 1, tier 2 cities do have the entire end-to-end cold chain. We are still far away, but we have begun on our journey, and the rate of investments in cold chain is going up by almost 50% every year, year and a half. Consumers today are becoming very quality conscious. Earlier, we were not even looking at what's the feedback from the consumers because our focus was mainly on the export markets, and we used to just, sell whatever export surplus we have into the domestic market. But now today, we are asking for feedback from the consumers that are buying our shrimp. We want to know how do they find it and what else we should do to help them to increase the shrimp consumption in the country. And thanks to the competition, thanks to increased production, the prices of shrimp have started coming down. The prices of shrimp, as Dr. Lal has mentioned in his speech, they are almost, I would say, equivalent to poultry. If you want, you may match that price. To that extent, people have come down to. We have left red meat far behind. Red meat is today 800 rupees a kg. You talk about lamb, 800 to 1,000 rupees a kg. Today you get 1 kg of peeled shrimp at half the cost or even much lower the cost. So we are now, aiming to take pot shots with poultry. And if we further invest in bringing down our production cost and make our shrimp prices more affordable, then definitely you can see a huge demand within India for shrimp. Now, while we have seen a lot of changes in the last 5 years, I would still say that we are still far, far away in terms of per capita consumption with the developed world. I mean, we are probably 1/10, 1/15 of the large countries. We are still, scratching the surface of, the shrimp market in India. But with the kind of potential that we have, with the kind of population we have and the kind of economic activity this country is witnessing, there is a huge opportunity going forward, right? Even if we consider our growth rate remains even at 6.5%, even then your middle class, which is right now about 400 million people, would, below the poverty line people will move up into the middle class by another 300 million people within 5 years or 6 years. Huge opportunity for India to increase its per capita shrimp consumption. So the main question, why should we drive the domestic consumption? Why should we not just focus on the export market? The country will earn the much required foreign exchange, which will help the country in many ways. So we should first be sure on the efforts that we are taking, whether they are in the right direction or not. I would say the first and the foremost reason why we should be doing it, you should all remember that aquaculture today supports almost 5.5 million livelihoods in the country, right? And today, that sector is facing tough challenges because of the international environment. So the primary reason that with my vested interest in the shrimp business, I would say is we should drive domestic demand to save our sector, to save our farmers, to increase the farmers' income in this country. Second, health and nutrition. The shrimp is bred in our waters. Our laborers, they toil on the farms day in, day out. Our farmers take all the risk. They go through all the troubles, and the shrimp is enjoyed by the Americans, the Europeans, and the Chinese. And they get all the benefits of eating shrimp. They are so happy that, they don't have to do anything. Their country doesn't have to do anything. They just have to throw some dollars, and then you get your shrimp back to you. Then why are we depriving our farmers, our Indian consumers about this, silver bullet food that we have, shrimp? Why we should deny them the benefits of this nutritious food that is grown in India? So we should start encouraging our Indian population, which today is again suffering with so many non-communicable diseases. We have become the diabetic capital of India. Our immunity is not as strong as our grandfather's immunity was. We are losing. So we have to focus on making Indians eat more protein, more leaner proteins, so that they all stay healthy. And we should focus on Indian domestic market because if you increase the demand locally, there will be more collaboration among the stakeholders in the value chain, and that would lead to a lot of improvements and a lot of efficiencies, which would ultimately result in bringing good product at affordable cost to the Indian consumers. And finally, we should do this. We should focus on domestic consumption because it will boost the confidence of people, the confidence of even investors, the confidence among the stakeholders. Even a restaurant doesn't mind putting 4 or 5 dishes on the menu. The wholesaler will stock more products. I mean, this will boost confidence in the entire value chain. So one needs to take this into cognizance, that the reason why we are sitting today is not just to save the country, save the Indian farmer from the vagaries of international volatility in prices, but also to give better diet to our Indian consumers, to also strengthen our entire cold chain, our value chain, supply chains, and to boost the confidence. So these are the 4 basic pillars that will aid in growth of consumption of any product. Affordability, availability, awareness, and attractiveness. These are the 4 critical things that we should work upon. And for India, the top 2, affordability and availability, are the key to increase shrimp consumption in the country. Affordability, as I have already discussed with you, India's spending power is very less, because 40% of our earnings go towards food, right? Which is very, very high. If you look at foreign countries like US and all that, they spend only 12% of their income. That's why they have all the money to go on holidays. They spend on fancy cars, they build big villas. They all do that. Here for India, since our per capita, our GDP is low, our incomes are low, 40% of our income goes towards our food products. So that's where we are losing. But yes, this will not remain static like this. This will improve. We have seen how it has improved in China. China and India were almost at the same level, say way back in 90s. Today they have surged. Their GDP is at least, their income, per capita income is at least 3-4 times than India. But their food is still 30% to their total spending power. So we have to improve, we will improve, and with the rate at which our Indian economy is growing, I am sure this 40% will become 30% and come down to 25% in the next, at least in 5-6 years, we should see the trend happening. So overall, I would say affordability is the biggest impediment for shrimp consumption in India. If you make this product more affordable, there will be more takers. So without addressing affordability, we talk about creating more awareness, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because people don't have money to spend. So we should keep this in mind, all the producers, the farmers, the processors, or the middlemen, everybody. Everybody should contribute to this. Let us keep the prices consistently at low for some time. You can definitely see the magic happening in the market. Availability had been very, very difficult in this country. Today, at the most, from the coastal areas, we have moved to major tier 1 cities, at least in Mumbai, Delhi. We find shrimp coming in and going. But there are still many, many markets in India, the tier 2, tier 3 cities, where they haven't even seen the shrimp, which is very, very sad. So there are still many places where they have not tasted shrimp, and at least I would say 30 to 40% of Indians have not even tasted shrimp in their lifetime. So we have to take the product into the hinterland of the country, especially from the coastal regions. Only then the shrimp consumption will start moving up. Awareness, I mean, this is again, as I said, this is very important. Awareness of eating or including shrimp in diet. Shrimp has so many good qualities in it, right? There's so much nutritional value in shrimp. It impacts every single organ in your body. It's such a beautiful product. But, we don't even talk about it, and there is absolutely no support from, agencies or authorities which do matter about this. I mean, today openly, doctors say do not consume shrimp because it has high cholesterol. This myth has to be busted at some point of time, which has, US, in the US, the FDA has called it one of the top 5 superfoods, which is good to be eaten even by a pregnant woman or a feeding mother. It's such a wonderful product, but in India, our doctors, all educated doctors, they say, oh, you have high cholesterol, don't eat shrimp, which is totally incorrect. Shrimp manages your lipids so beautifully, it boosts your HDL to a certain extent that the overall lipids are managed. So, but who is there to educate our, doctor fraternity? Has anybody taken this representation to ICMR or Indian Medical Association and said, boss, please stop preaching this? And we have seen even videos of doctors advocating do not eat shrimp during the COVID time. This is ridiculous, I would say. This myth has to be busted. Shrimp is a magic food, according to me. It has beautiful leaner proteins, 100 grams of shrimp, 24 grams of protein. Which product will give you this? Excellent. And along with this, there are many vitamins, trace minerals, which will impact every single organ of your body. So, but there is hardly any awareness. And apart from that, we still have some cultural orientation that we believe that frozen is not good, only fresh is better for us. This also has to go. China used to be that way. It's, say 15, 20 years back. There were a lot of wet markets in China, but today all wet markets disappeared in China. There is hardly any wet market over there. People have accepted frozen is much better than fresh, because you pack it under hygienic conditions with the right temperature throughout the chain. But we still have that orientation. I don't mind going to a wet market. I'll rub shoulders with thousands of people, and my shrimp, which is kept on the floor, there is a lot of bacteria buildup. I still don't mind buying that. But I don't want to go to a supermarket or don't want to pick up a frozen shrimp packet. This is very unfortunate that we have to address. And here again, American Heart Association says shrimp consumption is good for your heart. Tell me one body in India which says that, apart from SIBA, which came out with a paper that these are the benefits of shrimp eating. But then if SIBA gives a statement or a press release, will that add much weight than the Medical Council of India or the Indian Medical Association or the ICMR? These guys have to do the research and publish papers. US FDA has very clearly said this is the best food. But India, unfortunately, nobody has taken it up. Neither the National Institute of Nutrition, nor ICMR, nor IMA, nobody. I think this is something which we need to work upon. Every country has an advisory on shrimp, but we don't have that. So the last A of this is attractiveness and acceptability, which I think shrimp scores here very high and wins hands down when compared to other meats. Because it's a delicacy, it's highly nutritious, it is versatile, and it is convenient to use. It cooks in 2-3 minutes, whichever form you want to cook it. You want as a starter, you want as a curry, you want as a biryani, whatever you want to do, you can do with shrimp. It's such a beautiful product. So these are the 5 A's that I mentioned: affordability, availability. Then we talked about awareness, and now this attractiveness and acceptability. So what is the way forward? The way forward, I would say, is the first, it should be a concerted effort from everybody in the sector. It is not just our Mr. Pradhan. It is not just a Shrimp Farmers Association or a Feed Millers Association. It should be a joint effort from every single stakeholder in this sector to work towards increasing domestic consumption. And a body like NECC, like if we all remember that, Sunday hoya, Monday rose khao ande, how did it make a difference? How the egg consumption in the country has gone to greater heights. What have we done to shrimp till now? Nobody even has put up a poster anywhere, right? Everybody thinks this is somebody's job, somebody else should build the cat. But, it's high time for us that, we all come together and form a body that we don't, just leave it to the likes of Mr. Pradhan to, conduct a conference once in a year and then just talk about shrimp and try his level best to promote shrimp consumption. But it's a duty of every single person in this sector. Now, as I said, for India to grow shrimp consumption, it is affordability, which is the main reason. We have to keep the product affordable to the consumer. I mean, for some time, even if large players have to forego their margin, they have to do that to support this cause. Then we should participate in all the seafood festivals and make people try the product. As I told you, at least 30 to 40% of Indians have not tasted shrimp in their lifetime. You have to make them eat it. The minute they eat it, they will know how beautiful this product is, how delicate, the delicacy is something, I give you fish every day, you may get bored after 1 day, 2 days, but shrimp is not like that. You love shrimp, even kids would love shrimp. So we have to promote this by participating in all the seafood exhibitions or even any food exhibition. Recently, there was a chef's exhibition in Coimbatore, and SAP, the Society of Aquaculture Professionals, they have participated as a partner. They gave away shrimp in that festival. They made people eat shrimp. These kind of efforts should come from everybody. And if we can do these activities jointly as a one organization or a one agency, then the impact would be much higher. And there is a huge opportunity in the country for value-added products, ready-to-eat, ready-to-fry products. The demand is surging here, you will not believe. I was in Bangalore the other day. We just did some pub hopping over there, and every pub is facing tremendous labor shortages. There's a huge labor shortage, and the kitchens are manned by only one chef or two. They said, why, instead of supplying us raw and frozen, can you give us some ready-to-fry products? That's a great trend that is emerging in the country today, with labor shortages coming up everywhere. Focus on value-added products would be a good initiative for shrimp producers. Then, as I talked about, we should get endorsement from government authorities that shrimp has to be included in our diets, at least in 2 times a week. That is a must. That it's just not for boosting my shrimp sales, but for strengthening the immunity of Indians. And we should bust these myths about shrimp means high cholesterol and all that. That has to be taken up urgently by the government, with the necessary authorities, and we should come out with some papers authenticated by, top-class nutrition institutes or even the Indian Council of Medical Research. They have to publish papers. Only then, this talk about shrimp is not good for you will stop. Right? And we have to use PR extensively to, create more awareness on the health benefits of shrimp. That also is something which will aid in people understanding the value of shrimp. Today, we have not realized the full potential of shrimp's benefits. And we have to also let people know how to cook shrimp. We have seen people, cooking shrimp for even 15 minutes on the stoves. It's not correct. Shrimp has to be cooked only between 3 to 5 minutes at the most. If you cook more, it becomes rubbery and, people will lose interest on that. So we have to create awareness on that, how to cook shrimps. We have to come out with recipe books, and I would congratulate Deepak NextGen for coming out in one of their recent, in some industry body. They have given recipe books to consumers. These are efforts that are required for us to, increase our consumption in the country. So last but not the least, we should look at domestic market as a future for Indian shrimp aquaculture. It is not an opportunity market. Today I face headwinds from export markets, I look at Indian market. Tomorrow exports surge, then I forget about Delhi, I forget about Mumbai, I forget about Bangalore. No, this is not fair. You have to start investing in the domestic, boosting the domestic consumption today so that you can reap the benefits, say, 5 years from now. So it's high time that we all collaborate and come together to increase the shrimp consumption in the country. And yesterday it was red meat, and today it is poultry, but tomorrow will be for shrimp. So thank you very much. I think I took a lot of time, Aditya.